Good day, fellow Planeteers. Welcome back to another passport review. Today's passport is from... how do I say this? Well, on the cover you see Republic of China, so you might think, what's with the awkward pause? It's just a Chinese passport. Except it's not. Republic of China, despite the name, is not China. Well, it used to be China until it's not. Today, when we say China, we usually mean the People's Republic of China, or PRC for short, an East Asian continental country controlled by the Communist Party. Its national animal is the panda bear, and its most famous city is Wuhan. Whereas the Republic of China, or ROC, is a political entity occupying the island of Taiwan, plus a couple little isles nearby. Now you're gonna say, oh, so it's a Taiwanese passport. No, that's also wrong. First of all, there's no Taiwan written anywhere on this passport. Second, the ROC government has never called itself Taiwan at this point. If you're confused, you're not the first one. Just sit back, relax, smash the like button, and let me explain. Once upon a time in the Orient, there's a kingdom called China. At least, that's what I heard from Marco Polo, who has never been. Anyway, in China, there was a guy who's a pedophile. He didn't like the king because the royal family was an ethnic minority. So I guess on top of being a creep, he was also a bigot. The bigot organized a revolution that got rid of the king. That's when China became the Republic of China, ROC. The ROC was a one-party state. The government was occupied by the Nationalist Party. In fact, the passport tells you as much. The national emblem on the passport looks exactly the same as the logo of the Nationalist Party.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
This is blatantly authoritarian, even for a one-party state. The only countries in the world that put their ruling party's logos on the national flags were these two. So it's kinda telling. Which was why, 40 years into the Republic, the country was in a civil war. Unfortunately, it wasn't about freedom or human rights because the insurrection was led by the Communist Party, sponsored by the Soviets. In 1949, the Communists officially won the civil war, driving the ROC government forces out of the continent and to the island of Taiwan. The new regime established by the Communist Party is called the People's Republic of China, PRC. Meanwhile, the ROC, despite losing most of China, kept its own name. Most countries in the world recognize that the name China as succeeded by the PRC regime. That's why nowadays when we say China, we mean the PRC. And although colloquially people use Taiwan to refer to the geographical area controlled by the ROC, the ROC government itself had never given up claims on the entire China, which includes Mongolia, by the way. It was until 2003 the word Taiwan was added to the ROC passport, but that's the story for another time. Back to 1978, when this passport was issued, the ROC government still thought of itself as the temporarily displaced, legitimate government of the entire China, only in exile. But of course, other countries might disagree. More about that in a minute. But first, let's crack open this passport and see what's inside. On page 1, there's the passport statement, or the request page.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of China requests all whom it may concern to permit the national of the Republic of China named herein to pass freely and in case of need to give all possible aid and protection.
The name Republic of China appeared twice, just in case you're not sure which China is which. I don't think it helps, to be honest. But the layout of the request page is definitely beautiful. I love the big stamp on the Chinese side. The English one is mediocre. Turning over to page 3 and 4, we got the bio page. Since this is an official passport for serious business, the official status is obviously the most important part of the bio page. In case you didn't know, an official passport is issued to someone who's traveling on government business, or representing the government to some degree but doesn't qualify as a diplomat. In this case, our guy was working for Chinese Petroleum, a state-owned enterprise. By the way, the company this guy was working for, Chinese Petroleum Corporation, should not be confused with the China National Petroleum Corporation, its Chinese counterpart. which has probably already confused you because I just told you the Chinese version of Chinese petroleum is called China National Petroleum. Anyway, blue logo Taiwan, red logo China, this logo subscribe. Got it? The source of the confusion is quite simple, since Republic of China didn't change its name. The state-run businesses that moved to Taiwan alongside the government also didn't change their names. They continue to call themselves China this and China that, despite only being able to operate in Taiwan. Needless to say that this has made everyone's life unnecessarily complicated. Imagine booking a plane ticket with Air China and then finding out that you went to the wrong airport that only flies China Airlines. A good rule of thumb is that the red one is usually the Chinese one, but there are also some wildcards out there. The other reason that they kept China on so many things in Taiwan for so long is the sentimental values. Remember, the ruling class in Taiwan are Chinese nationalists who lost the Civil War and got chased out of China to settle in Taiwan, an island to which they have no attachment. It's completely understandable that they will feel homesick and want to name everything they see after their hometown, sort of like what the British did in every colony. For example, the bearer of this official passport was born in China in 1922, which means he probably had to escape China as a refugee in his 30s. By that token, Taiwan is probably the first and only country that's run by refugees, or by a bunch of defeated soldiers, depends on how you see it. Only their losing streak didn't stop after they moved to Taiwan. The ROC continued to lose friends on the international stage, as many countries sever ties with the ROC in favor of the PRC. In 1971, the UN passed a resolution allowing the PRC to take the title of China in all UN organizations and expelling representatives of the ROC. By 1978, the ROC has lost 68% of its friends and only 22 countries still recognized this passport. Of course, that number will eventually drop down to the low teens. But back then, South Korea was probably one of the only major countries that still maintained ties with Taiwan, which is why it's the only country this passport was valid for. On page 16, we can see the Korean visa and stamps, still looking sharp after 40 years. The ROC exit and entry stamps were put on page 18 and 22. Nice big stamps with good quality ink. I wish there were more stamps on this passport. Unfortunately, your ability to travel the world probably takes a hit when you're expelled at the UN. There's one more stamp on the back though, it's a fee stamp, not much to look at. Right beside it, the passport notes, safekeeping instructions, stuff like that, you know, the usual. Being from the 70s, this passport didn't come with too many security features. The pages are made out of patterned paper, which was the industry standard back in the days. Actually, I'll say the quality is better than the Chinese passports around the same time. The watermarks are the most disappointing, just some Chinese characters. I would much prefer to see some images or patterns. But overall, this passport is in excellent condition. I'm happy to have it in my collection. The history between Taiwan and China is also fascinating. I'll probably do another video just on that. So until then, peace. Hey guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know more about immigration and passports, hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.